Water is the blue blood of our planet. It reflects the sky and sustains life. But in certain corners of the Earth, the fundamental rules of optics have been overwritten. You are looking at a geographical anomaly, a body of water so bright, so unnaturally pink that it looks like a digital glitch in the Earth's rendering. Centuries, sailors and explorers dismissed these sites as hallucinations or chemical spills. But this isn't pollution, and it isn't a trick of the light. Across our globe, from the coasts of Australia to the high deserts of the Andes, these pink waters represent a masterclass in extreme evolution. Today, we step into the lab to decode the machinery of the pink paradox. Our investigation into the pink paradox begins at a location that remains the greatest challenge to our understanding of atmospheric biology. Middle Island, Western Australia, home to Lake Hillier. When Captain Matthew Flinders climbed the highest peak of this island in 1802, he expected to find a standard salt lagoon. Instead, he found a basin filled with a liquid so vibrantly pink, it seemed to defy the very laws of optics. But here is the critical insight. Unlike almost every other pink lake on this planet, Hillier's color is not a transient guest. It is a permanent resident. Scientists have taken samples of this water, bottled them, and stored them in darkness for years. The color remains unchanged. It doesn't matter if the sun is at its zenith or if the sky is overcast. The water stays an opaque neon pink. This suggests that the pigment isn't just a reaction to light, it is a fundamental property of the water's chemical composition. Moving 6,000 miles northwest, we encounter a different version of the paradox in West Africa, Lake Retba, Senegal. Known locally as Lac Rose. This body of water functions like a massive organic mood ring. Its intensity is tied directly to the rhythms of the Sahara. When the dry harmattan winds blow across the desert, they accelerate evaporation, spiking the salinity levels to nearly 40%. This triggers a frantic biological response. To survive the rising salt, the organisms within the water must produce pigment at an accelerated rate. Here, the pink is a sign of struggle. It is a workspace of extreme human endurance, where collectors dive into the brine, their skin coated in thick fats, to prevent the water from literally leaching the life out of their cells. In Retba, the pink isn't just a color, it's a warning of the water's lethality. We cross the Mediterranean to the Iberian Peninsula, the salinas of Torrevieja in Spain. This is where the pink paradox meets the industrial age. These are not just natural wonders, they are high-capacity salt factories. But the relationship is symbiotic. The salt harvesters here rely on the pink organisms as a biological barometer. The presence of the neon hue indicates that the water has reached the perfect state of hypersalinity for high-quality sodium chloride production. The more vibrant the pink, the purer the final product. It is a landscape where white mountains of salt, thousands of tons of them, tower over lavender and magenta lagoons, creating a visual contrast that feels like it belongs on a different planet. Finally, we ascend into the thin, cold air of the Andes, Laguna Colorada, Bolivia. At an altitude of over 4,200 meters, the rules of biology are pushed to their breaking point. Here, the pink deepens into a rich blood-red crimson. This is a fortress for extremophiles. The water is enriched not only by life, but by volcanic mineral sediments, borax and sulfur, that react with the microorganisms to create a spectrum of red that is unique to this high-altitude desert. It is the primary feeding ground for the rare James's flamingo, proving that this extreme chemistry doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It powers an entire avian ecosystem. Looking at these four locations, we see a pattern. The pink paradox is a global mechanism, a testament to life's ability to colonize the most saturated, toxic, and irradiated environments on Earth. The question remains, why pink? In any standard body of water, physics dictates the color. Water molecules naturally absorb longer red wavelengths and reflect shorter blue ones. This is why our oceans and deep lakes appear blue. But in a pink lake, the chemistry of the water has been recalibrated. When white light hits the surface of these hypersaline brines, it encounters a biological barrier. The density of the salts and the concentration of microscopic organisms change the refractive index of the liquid. The organisms within the water act as a selective filter. They absorb the high-energy blue and ultraviolet spectrums to protect their internal molecular structures. What is left and what is reflected back into the lens of our cameras is the pink and red spectrum. You're not looking at a dyed liquid, you're looking at a living liquid shield reflecting the only light it cannot consume. The primary architect of this color is Dunaliella salina. Under a microscope, this microalga is a marvel of adaptation. In a normal pond, it would be green, filled with chlorophyll. But in these lakes, it faces a lethal paradox. It needs sunlight for energy, but the reflection from the salt crystals and the direct UV radiation would shred its DNA in seconds. To survive, it produces a massive amount of carotenoids, specifically beta-carotene. This is the same pigment found in carrots. But here, it is produced in industrial quantities at the cellular level. It acts as a biological sunscreen, preventing solar radiation from bleaching the alga's core. Trillions of these organisms floating in the water create the collective glow we see from above. They have mastered the art of surviving in a solution that should be sterile. But as the lake evaporates and the salt concentration reaches its peak, a second player takes over. Halobacteria. Despite their name, these are not true bacteria, they are archaea, among the oldest life forms on our planet, existing long before our atmosphere was rich in oxygen. They don't use chlorophyll. Instead, they use a specialized protein called bacteriorhodopsin. This protein is structurally similar to the pigment found in the human eye. It allows these ancient cells to capture light and convert it directly into chemical energy. When you stand on the shore of a pink lake, you are looking at a planetary scale energy reactor. Trillions of microscopic batteries vibrating at the pink frequency, harvesting light in a way that hasn't changed in 3 billion years. The pink paradox teaches us that life is relentless. It does not just survive in harsh conditions, it colonizes them. From the flamingos that carry this color in their feathers to the salt that seasons our food, these anomalies are a reminder that even in the most toxic, saturated environments, life finds a way to master the light. Thank you for joining us in the lab. If you want to continue decoding the hidden mechanisms behind the world's greatest anomalies, subscribe to Insight Lab. Stay curious, stay analytical. We will see you in the next investigation.